And we're back here once again with another episode of the MSK show, and this is going to be episode 438. So I hope you guys had a great day, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week that is ahead of you. And in this episode of the MSK show, I am going to be having a conversation with American Texan, and this is going to be his first appearance on the show. So that means that a Rizmaster Top G lady obliterator is going to meet a cowboy. See, that's how the forces of the universe are combining. You know, we did like a Dragon Ball Z, like, you know, Goku Vegeta fusion dance, actually, you know.
I understood maybe half of those words, but I'm glad to be here.
Dang it. See, he's not a nerd. That's what happened. You're not into anime. So, you know.
No, I'm not. I wish I could be. It's one of those things that I want to like so much. In fact, okay, this is a big thing for me. I'm getting through One Piece right now. So that's a start for me. I'm still on, I think I'm in the 20s, episode 20 something.
So get Zoro, Nami. So that's when that's
Captain they just Kuro? Got to the Baratier and they're talking to the chef, waiter chef.
Okay, so that's Sanji's arc.
Sanji, yeah.
Yeah, you're on Sanji's arc. Yeah. So like I'll say this, the first 3 arcs with like Zoro and Nami and Usopp, they're I would say solid to good. I think the next 2 arcs you're going to be on those are the best ones of the first initial ones. Those are like, man, that Sanji arc is minus the filler is fucking, that shit is so good. The next one is even better, actually. But, you know, the Captain Kuro one, it was solid. You know, the character of Usopp is kind of like an underdog that no one believes in. He's trying to live in a world with a bunch of people full of powers. You know, stories like that always kind of gets me. But then I realized, wait a minute, I would not want to be that character in that world. I would want to be the guy with powers. You know what's crazy about people, dude, is that like people go, you know what? When I watch media, I want it to reflect my life. It's like, guys, no, there's a reason why.
I don't know.
Fantasy. Where does that come from?
I don't understand that. I don't want to watch me. I see me enough all day. I want to see someone better than me. Like, I think that's what we have a lot of issues and why I think as I've matured and gotten older, I have shifted from Superman being an annoying character to someone that like I actually look forward to reading a good Superman story from, because despite everything that he goes through and has to deal with being both Superman and Clark Kent, he always chooses the higher path. He always sticks to his guns, his morals. He's the Blue Boy Scout. And he's like, that's who I want to be. That even on my worst day where I'm feeling the most down and out, crushing, burdened, I'm still doing the right thing. Like that's what I enjoy. And for other people to say, well, no, we want our characters to look more like us. And instead of creating their own original character and doing some kind of representation that way, they just take an existing character and bring them down to our level. And that's just like it. I don't know if it's lazy or just entitled or what I would call that. But that is very frustrating when they take great characters that like have stood the test of time and have come out better from being heroic. And instead they call it deconstructing. I think it's something else. Let's just tear them down to our level to try to make ourselves feel better, I guess. I don't know. I can't stand that.
I always imagine it in my brain as just insane levels of narcissism. Like just being in a narcissist to the absolute extreme where, you know, it's the same thing in like comic books, as people know, where you have like multiple different writers and artists throughout characters like Superman and Batman's history. And then some of the times you read their interviews or hear them speak, you're just like, God Lord, you are just an egotistical maniac. Now, the thing what people need to understand is that when it comes to life, if you're good at your craft, like, and people could like objectively look at it and go, you know what, this is good. I think people let certain qualities about people, you know, slide, even if you don't like them. You know, like someone like Quentin Tarantino, I think he's just an absolute fucking lunatic. He's just an egomaniac weirdo. But he has made some movies I really, really enjoy. So these kind of things I let slide. It's just the person that's not talented also having a huge ego and also being like a massive narcissist. You're like, all right, dude, at least if you're going to have one of these things, at least let it be like the talent portion. Because some of these people just aren't talented at all. Like, good Lord. Like, it's also really disgusting that you have a character, guys, I'm not shitting you. This is a character you can look up right now. It's a character, and it's like Disney Plus animated series or something like that. It's called Captain Durag.
Yeah, Captain I've been hearing. Durag. Yeah.
Yes, because that's what black people are waiting for.
Yeah. That's what I think people think. I don't know. I don't know. It's I try to focus on the things that I like, and I'm actually the epitome, to a fault, some might say, of being able to separate art from artist. Because I read a lot of comics and it consume a lot of media.
Isn't
For
that for nerds? I
like
heard comic books are for nerds.
probably not want to be in the same room with me, or that would not want to be in the same room with many of my friends or people that I like, all other YouTubers that I enjoy. But I don't care. I don't care how stupid you are on YouTube, how dumb your beliefs are. I don't care about any of that. If you write a good comic book, if you draw good art, I will buy it, because I'm
Mhm.
not buying to support you. I'm not buying to support your lifestyle. You can want me, you want to make $1 off me by selling a $5 book, more power to you, right? I'll do the same with my business. I want to be entertained. I want bang for my buck. If you write good art and you want to take half my money, I don't care. I will give you $5 for a good art, a good story, good entertainment. And I do that to anyone. There are people that I read that are far right. There are people that I read that are far left. I don't follow these people on Twitter. I don't pay attention or get into those things. But when they come out with a book, I buy it and I enjoy it.
Mhm.
So I will always make that distinction, that because that's just, I just want a good time. I don't care who it's from. Think
Yeah,
less
like
of me if you will. Think less of me if you will. But I
I
like
always
you.
tell people this too, because I remember there was someone that I had on the show, and I know he was saying this in a more of a joking manner. It was on Facebook actually. He was like, this guy, which is I have my real name on Facebook. And he was like, "Well, you still support the mainstream?" It's like, well, I don't even really look at it that way. Or like, what I look at it is, I buy comic books. I buy them from Marvel, DC, Image, any company. I could back an Indiegogo or a Kickstarter campaign from someone. I enjoy reading comic books. Now, the barrier to entry from getting like single issue floppies will always be so much more easier than backing something on like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, because
Yeah.
it's just like I can go on a website, order it with a bunch of other my titles, like I told you guys how I do it, and I get to get the book, and eventually we read and review them here, and that's it. Also, like I've told people this before. Like, I'll use Mark Waid for example. I think Mark Waid's an absolute moron, but I'll read stuff he's done because I have read stuff he's done and I enjoy it. It's like I can do that. I can do that in my brain. I don't have to like what someone says politically to enjoy their work. Like, where did we get in life where two things just can't happen? It's crazy how some people will criticize leftists for that, which is fair. It's just agreeable, but they're doing the same thing. Like, in life, guys, there's people that I know that don't agree with me on anything I say or think or how I speak on anything, but we can still be cool with each other. It's not like I've always been that way. That's like a new thing where apparently if
Yeah.
someone disagrees with you on something or something political or comic book wise, or it's crazy goddamn movie wise, which movies aren't even real, essentially real. It's like, this is fake worlds we're arguing over. They'll go, you know what? I can't associate with that person. See, I would never do that. That's not me to do. It's literally not. It's like, you know that meme back in the day of like, it's not that serious, bro. It's literally not that serious. Oh, the only way for
Yeah.
me to stop talking to someone is if they were like, I don't know, maybe if they tweeted out, hey, I support PDFs or rapists. It's like, okay, well, that there's obviously lines, right? There's lines to that stuff, you know?
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of it comes from. A lot of us have different lines. Like I use this when I have a like Democrat family that tried to tell me like I'm wrong, and I'm like, okay, well, let's take it to the most extreme. Do you think that that's wrong? And they're like, well, yeah. And I was like, okay, so we both agree there's a line. We just disagree on where that line is. Like, let's just leave it there. And you know, I don't fault anyone for not wanting to buy. For example, like I think Wes from Thinking Critical doesn't buy Mark Waid because Mark Waid like literally personally attacked Wes on Twitter, and I was like, that's fine, like totally understand it. Sully,
Yeah.
who also does
Mhm.
comic books, someone blocked him and was like, well, I'm not going to buy your books anymore because you blocked. Like, I totally get that. I'm not there yet. So I mean, if someone wants to be stupid online, but they make a good book, that's fine. I think you kind of slipped the word in there that I think has changed all of this, and I think it's the dumbest thing to enter in business. And I'm a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur. I own two agencies. And
Yeah, I
so
know.
like
Yeah.
one of the
Well,
things,
congrats. Yeah, I know.
thank you.
That's awesome. I
Um,
actually want to make sure I congratulate you on that, because I know a lot of men out there have to understand the so. And I want a lot of younger, I know I got a lot of older men that watch this show on Spotify. I want you guys to listen to this whenever you guys hear this episode come out on Spotify, whenever I get a chance to putting out, because I'm a little bit behind right now. In life, things are not going to be easy. Get that out of your head. This is the best advice I ever heard on the show, and I'll just echo it to all of you. Do you want to be right or do you want to be successful? Because those are two different things, actually. And when guys tell me, dude, it's just so hard. Yeah, you know what? It is hard. Do you guys think where I live is I just got this by just fucking not working, not doing shit? No, things are gonna be hard. You're gonna go through it, good and bad. You might have a kid, you might have a wife, you might be single. It doesn't matter. Life is gonna be hard. Get that in your head and just understand it's gonna be hard and just navigate through it. I've been able to do it all my life. I'm pretty sure all of you have too. You're still alive, you're still kicking, you're still breathing, you know? Like your parents raised you enough to get you to this point. Life's gonna be hard. You gotta just go through it. There's really no other way to say it, you know? Like I thought this was common shit every guy just knew and you just kind of just did, you know?
No,
but yeah, man, congratulations on your success, actually.
I appreciate that. Well, I mean, there's a whole that's a whole different podcast.
Right,
We can get into all that. But what I was going to say was, you had mentioned the word, and that has totally shifted the way businesses are run. And I don't like the economy that is generating because of it. And that word is support, right? People say, how can you support Marvel by buying their books and all this? And like the way that I look at it, they're supporting me because I want to be entertained. I want a good story. I want to escape from my life and see heroes doing heroic things, overcoming things, or in the case of Absolute Batman, I want to see him get beat to slop and still see him rise above, right? And I want to be entertained. And guess what? These writers and these artists, even though they are the total polar opposite from me, politically, personally, religiously, whatever they believe, they write good books. They are supporting me. That's the way that I look at it. And there are some writers that I know that are going to be totally hit and miss. There are some writers that I know do great jobs on the indies, but under Marvel and DC editorial, they bend the knee too much. They follow what they recommend, and their writing suffers because of it. I know one writer, I don't like any of their books, but there's one ongoing that they have right now that is awesome. And again, when I read their other books, I know this person would not want to be in the same room as me. But when they write this other ongoing, I'm like, I don't care. It's a good story. I'm really enjoying it. I'm going to read it. And that's because I'm not supporting them. They're supporting me. I'm here with money saying, I want to be entertained. Will someone please take my money? And they say, here I am. Here's a story. Here's some art. Do you like this? And I say, yes, I would like it. Please give me some more. That's what comics is. It's not supporting someone. It's not donating. It's not lifting something up. And we can disagree on this, and that's fine. Yeah, there's a line. If someone Al Qaeda here says, hey, buy my Al Qaeda Girl Scout cookies, like, okay, maybe I'll give it a second thought. But
you know what? If they're chocolate chip, you know,
come on, man, that'd be good. Don't even think about it. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, so I don't care. I don't need you to agree with everything and I don't need you to agree with me on any of this other stuff. Do you write good? Do you draw good? Is there a great story here to be had? I will watch it. I will enjoy it. And there are some people that I have to kind of think of, well, I know the kind of stories they want to tell, so I walk into it a little more cautiously. I don't buy it right away. But there are others that I know can separate it. You said Mark Waid, for example. So like just from what I hear, I don't follow him on Twitter, but from what I hear, he's an insufferable human being. But the man can write a good Superman. I think he wrote Last Days of Lex Luthor, which came out last year. And I'm like, that's like the perfect encapsulation of the kind of man that Superman is. I mean, he doesn't live it. I guess I hope he wants to aspires to be like it. He knows a good Superman. He writes a good Superman. I enjoy his books. I subscribe to a lot. I don't know if it's most, but I subscribe to a lot of Mark Waid on my pull list because I really like the way that he writes World's Finest. Didn't care for Absolute Power. And what's the other book that he's doing that's an ongoing? I can't remember. Justice League Unlimited. I'm enjoying that one. Yeah, I'm enjoying JLU. It's a little busy at times. Not really caring for the tie-in that's going on right now, but I still enjoy the writing. I think he writes a good hero story.
He was on Shazam as well for a little bit there, and then him and Dan
I haven't read that one.
Yeah. So I would say Scott Snyder is always the big litmus test for me because he retweets and does all this crazy liberal. Man is going to no Kings protest. I'm like, Scott, we don't have Kings here in America, buddy. Just pointing out. I think he agreed with me on one thing, but he didn't like my tweet because you know how people post who likes their tweets, which they're supposed to be private anyway. So you're not supposed to do that, but people do it. Like this one guy was criticizing him for something. Oh, you remember? It was because this one weirdo with pronouns in their bio tried to say the new Court of Owls logo is a right-wing militia logo, and Scott was like, no, it's not. And I under the thread, I literally said, hey, Scott. He probably listened to me, but I'm pretty sure it's something happened because I was like, dude, that guy's got pronouns in his bio. Just ignore what that fucking dude is saying. That's it. And then the guy who I was talking about comes on and be like, dude, I'll just pray for you. I'm like, get the fuck on my face. The fuck? Like, that's so cringe. Like, hey, guys, Scott Snyder he's like at some point in his career done Night Letter and shit like that. I will just say this, it feels like he's someone that's being pressured by a lot of people to do certain things. That's what it kind of comes up to me. I could be wrong, but keep in mind, if he wants to do that, let him. As long as he writes absolute Batman good, we can have a good time.
Yeah, I think there are some writers that know how to play the game, or I should say, even creatives. I guess they know how to play the game. I think they know. I mean, we hear these stories a lot. I don't know if you listen to Film Threat from Chris Gore. Like, he talks about actors and actresses that they don't believe any of this stuff, but they do it so they can get a job. And if again, different lines, right? I am not going to renounce Christ my King. I'm not going to say I'm not going to put pronouns in my bio. I'm not going to do any of that. But if that's not an issue for them, like for me, it's not an issue to buy a Mark Waid comic if I think it's going to be good. Everyone's got their different lines, and I get that. But again, to go back to the original point we were talking about, like, I think that's where it is people say, how can you support Marvel? I'm not supporting Marvel. They're supporting me. I want a good story, and I will buy the ones that I'm interested in. Now, there's a difference between being a Marvel zombie. I was talking to someone that was like, or no, it was a YouTube comment on a video. It was like, oh, the only books that I'm getting from Marvel are these 4 books. And I'm like, those are the same 4 books that I'm getting. Like, there's only 4, maybe 5 good Marvel books. And they do quantity over quality. They have 60, 70 books a month. Ridiculous, because they want to own the rack. And it's all trash. There's a few in there. Like, I'm a huge Hickman fan. That's probably the most controversial thing about this vanilla ice cream here is I really like Hickman is an auto pull every time. He has almost no, from what I can tell, he has no spine, telling editorial shove their ideas back up where they came from, because Marvel just runs over him, treats him like trash. But I guess he's got to no compete with them, and so he's just signed exclusive with them. So he just has to sit there and take it, and it's just such an incredible waste of his talent. But anyways, where was I going with that? Anyways, there are certain artists that like creatives that I really enjoy, but with Marvel, it's just so few and far between. And when I started reading comics in 2012, it was very much character based. I don't care who's writing Iron Man, I'm going to read Iron Man. I don't care who's writing Spider-Man, I'm going to read Spider-Man. I don't care who's writing the Avengers, I'm going to read the Avengers. Now it's like, I don't care who they're writing for. I'm going to read Hickman. I'm going to read Philip Kennedy Johnson. I'm going to read Snyder. I'm going to read Joshua Williamson is one that I've really gotten into. Kyle Starks. Any of those, automatic pull. I will do. Yeah, give me whatever you're writing for the character. I don't care who it is. I will read them. Iron Man's my favorite character. Now, before Joshua Williamson, didn't pull it, didn't miss it at all. In fact, I even sold half my Iron Man collection because it was no longer bringing joy, because Marvel had zero respect for the character, just did not care about it. And so Iron Man stuff just didn't bring me joy. So I sold a lot of the books that I had. So I find myself now, I don't know if it's a maturity thing or if it's the state of the comic industry. I want to read and see the art from the artists that I really enjoy. But even then, it's still going to be like writing. So like, Viken Marion is another great artist. He did a couple of issues of Nightwing. Dan Waters' Nightwing hasn't really gelled with me, so I didn't get those. But Philip Kennedy Johnson's doing Dungeons of Doom. Didn't have high expectations from it, but I like PKJ, so I got it. I'm enjoying it. So I find myself following now more writers than characters. And even if it's a character that I love, doesn't have a good writer, probably not going to read it.
Did you feel the same way with Jed McKay's Avengers run? Because that's ending, I think, this week or next week, coming up at issue 36.
Jed McKay has been more missed than hit. The only memorable thing that he did, because he did Blood Hunt, didn't he, last year?
He did. He's on Moon Knight, Blood Hunt, and X-Men currently.
Yeah, I don't read anything X, unfortunately. I'll check out some Wolverine stuff, but X-Men I have no interest. I liked Hickman stuff. After that, I just have zero interest. They got to figure out what they're doing with those guys, because I don't care.
Did you enjoy the new Iron Man #1 by Joshua Williamson that just came out? I just read and reviewed it. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. Yeah, it was good.
I did.
It was good. Yeah.
For me, and this is where people are like, okay, I can't take this guy seriously. And look, I get it. Okay. But for me, I compared it to The Force Awakens, right? The Force Awakens was basically, some people take it too far and say it's a shot for shot remake of A New Hope. No, it's not. Okay. It does echo back to a lot of the themes. It does follow a lot of the same pacing, has a lot of the same twists, right? Obi-Wan died, Han Solo died. Spoiler alert for a movie that came out over a decade ago. It does hit a lot of those same beats, but it played it safe. And that's why it made the most out of any of the sequels. Iron Man, the reboot with Williamson, I think did a lot of the same thing. It went more MCU Tony Stark, but it went back to those beats of let's remind you of how he became Iron Man. Let's go back to having an award ceremony and a big party kickoff or whatever. Let's bring in another armor that's something that's not an armor, but turns out to be an armor with this flying motorcycle thing. Let's bring back Pepper Potts. It was echoing a lot of stuff. It didn't innovate. It just returned to like just a classic almost like reading Mother Goose, right? Like we know who the spoon ran away with. We've heard it all our lives. We know all this about Tony Stark. So it's kind of a recap reiteration, but for everything that's been going on with Iron Man, especially that last communist Iron Man,
Oh yeah,
get that taste out of my
Spencer.
mouth. I am totally fine
Yeah.
with going back to status quo and repeating a couple things so we can get that out, set a new standard. I don't know what Marvel's thing with Madame Mask is. I feel like she's in everything now. But
Same thing
whatever.
happened with Amanda Waller. It felt like for that after absolute
Yeah.
before Absolute Power ended, felt like she was just in everything.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
movies,
So
TV,
I don't know
everything.
what
Yeah,
that's about. But yeah, so I liked it. I enjoyed it.
yeah, because
For
issue
what
2
it
comes
was,
out
you know,
this
it
week.
wasn't
Yeah,
anything groundbreaking. It wasn't absolute Iron Man, but you know,
don't give me any
at this
ideas.
point, I enjoyed it. So I liked it probably more than others, but yeah, I thought it was cool.
Oh, I enjoyed it, and I think there's nothing wrong with having certain themes that the Iron Man movies would have for the comic book, and not like making it a shot for shot, but it'll give people that sense of familiarity, and it makes them want to keep going with the book. And keep in mind, as you know, Marvel's been doing this thing with jumping on points with DC for like what feels like the last 4 or 5 years to have what's the best jumping on point. A new Iron Man run at Iron Man #1, you could be like, hey, if you just watch the Iron Man movie, which we know everyone pretty much has. You give them that book, it'll have a sense of familiarity with it, and they'll go off with it. And that's what you need. You need that sense of like, hey, this reminds me of the movie. It has something there. Because I think Marvel takes
Yeah.
a little bit too far sometimes when it's like they're trying to match everything, and it's like, okay, you can't do that. But just a
I
little
honestly
bit of
don't.
this
I
thing.
don't think they take it far enough. Wonder Man came out 4 weeks
Oh
ago, and the
no,
new
yeah,
Wonder
you're
Man doesn't come out for 3 months, right? And then they're gonna have a classic Wonder Man, and then they're gonna have a Black Wonder Man, I guess, or something like that. So I don't know how all that's gonna work. Again, I, I probably saw the writer, and I was like, I don't care, so I'm not gonna check it out. But yeah, and then One World Under Doom came out what 5 months after Fantastic Four and a year before Doom, whatever. I was so looking forward to that one. I thought it was such a good idea, and I really liked what Ryan North was doing, or at least the idea he had. I didn't care so much for the execution, but yeah, it came out in this weird middle ground between Fantastic Four and Doomsday. Like there is zero synergy, and I just do not get it. And it's unfortunate. So yeah, Marvel, their timing is just off. I don't
You
know
know what's
what I don't
even
know what it
weird
is with them.
with when it comes to Marvel and their Disney Plus shows? Because I have heard good things about Wonder Man, but I want you guys
I
to
liked it.
understand.
I
It's crazy.
liked it a lot
I've
more
heard
than I
a
thought I would.
and keep in mind that's a very good thing. But here's the inherent problem. Why the fuck did it take to 2026 to get to that point, guys? I want you to understand they produced like 20 of these shows, and the fact that you've said you've enjoyed one of them, it's like we're that'd be like literally
Well,
swimming through a sea of
I'll tell you.
shit.
I'll tell you what was
Golden
good.
nugget.
I don't talk a lot about. I don't talk a lot of TV on my stuff, but so
Mm,
I'll tell you what I liked about Wonder
yeah.
Man is it took me back. And it did what Disney Plus Daredevil didn't, right? But it
Mhm.
took me back to the original Netflix Marvel shows, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, where the show was not a superhero show. It was your thematic genre show that just happened to star a superhero. So Daredevil was a lawyer procedural, but the main lawyer character was Daredevil, right? Luke Cage was kind of a black exploitation film. Jessica Jones was a rape survival uh, story, but again, the victim survivor was a superhero. Iron Fist was a little bit of a business takeover, a little bit of a mishmash. Was probably the weakest of the few. And so Wonder Man was your Hollywood exploitation, almost like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like it was a story of an actor, but this actor just happened to be a superhero. I thought it was really well done. I think they did a lot of good things to redeem Trevor Slattery slash Mandarin. They gave the character some legs, I think, for the future. And then they had a one-off side episode that kind of was a prelude to what was going on in the main show, and it didn't actually star Wonder Man, but it starred someone that you kept hearing about, the Doorman, and it featured Josh Gad, but he didn't take himself seriously, so it was almost like Hollywood poking fun at themselves. And so it was that kind of story, but the main character was super powered, and I think that's what made Wonder Man really good. All the other Disney Plus shows, including their take on Daredevil, was not that. Daredevil was some kind of watered down superhero show that was also just, I think they call it navel gazing and trying to. It was more of Matt Murdock following his friends, which is what a lot of the Disney Plus shows just end up being. Is just the main character following his friends, and that's Marvel just needs to figure this out. Wonder Man didn't do that. It was a Wonder Man show. I think there were some weaknesses with Wonder Man. Like some people are like, well, he's just an egotistical actor. Like, why would I want to care for that? And I agree, but that's what a Hollywood exploitation film is, right? We don't like these characters, but they're entertaining to watch and see what happens. So, I mean, Wonder Man, I think, did what a lot of things did. Number one, it got me to watch a Disney Plus show without giving up in the middle. So good for them. I think I watched it over the course of a few days. So yeah, it was probably the best Disney Plus show since maybe WandaVision, which I guess was their first.
Yeah, and even that one, you're like, wow. At a certain point, this is just like, fuck. What is this? You know?
Yeah, WandaVision had the benefit of coming off of still some when MCU was still good. I thought the intrigue of the first 3 or 4 episodes where like you had this little flashes, those horror flashes of like, please save me, and then she goes back into character and you didn't know what was happening, but then once you kind of figured out what was happening, and then it just got kind of cheesy Marvel, like, oh, here's the FBI guy, and then we got the Hex stuff, and then Rambeau gets her powers, and then there's just weird witch fight at the end. It kind of fell off towards the end, but it wasn't Echo. Echo was the first Marvel show I could not finish.
No, because there was She-Hulk. After She-Hulk, I didn't even finish She-Hulk. It was so bad.
I finished She-Hulk, but Echo, I couldn't do it.
The episode this wedding episode, I was like, this is the worst piece of garbage I've ever seen. Get me out, please.
Yeah, the whole like, we're not even gonna do a climax battle. We're just gonna have her rewrite everything. and the whole time I'm just thinking like, it's kind of like John's Longbox talks about, they should never have given Superman time travel powers, because now it's like, well, if anyone dies, it's Superman's fault, because he could have just flown around the world and fixed it, right? So it's kind of like, well, now if anything bad happens in the MCU, it's all Jennifer Walters' fault, because she could have just gone and talked to Kevin Feige or done her thing there. Like, again, I think it was a clever idea, just poorly executed.
Like a show like She-Hulk could work. It's just the current Marvel, you just have so little hope they could pull it off, though. Like, it's not that they can't do anything. It's just that when they do so many bad things in a row, people need to understand this, though. Your pattern recognition starts kicking in after, like, potentially the second or third time. Sometimes the first one, you go, okay, this might be on the downward trajectory. And then the average person starts going, wait a minute. Half the stuff they've been putting out, I don't even really like this stuff. And then you start doubting them. And now the problem with the MCU now is a lot of people overly doubt them and underly doubt them. And they just have everything in such disarray right now. Yeah. Do I want Brand New Day to be good? Yeah. But when they're announcing things about the movie, this is the same shit they've announced for past Spider-Man movies. To be fair, not tied to them. But when I hear about Spider-Man movies having like 1 or 2 more villains, that starts to be a red flag, because that's the same shit heard about Spider-Man 3, maybe Spider-Man 2, Avengers Doomsday's having this massive cast. Or like, how's this? Because Endgame had the same thing with Infinity War. Story in Endgame and Infinity War is a little like all over the place.
The longer time goes on, the more Endgame just kind of makes less and less sense. Infinity War was good, though. I liked Infinity War.
The more I look back on it now, I think I flipped on them. I think Infinity War does actually be better in my brain a little bit longer than Endgame. Endgame does have those hype aura moments that kids love.
Yeah, you can't mess with that. Yeah, but the more you think about it, the more you're like, this doesn't make any sense.
Lord, man, holy fucking shit! What is the MCU doing? But no, that thing where you said earlier, when it comes to supporting people, I want people to also understand this, though. When you're supporting anything, the main thing you are supporting, because this is just a factual thing that you're doing when you're buying a comic book, is you're supporting your local comic book shop. That is the thing you are directly supporting, because you know how, I'm not going to explain the system anymore. You know how it works by now. But basically, long story short, they pay for those books in advance. They're hoping you come in and pick up your pull list, or come in every single week for New Comic Book Wednesday, stuff like that. So the only thing you are supporting is them. And when Marvel or DC or any of the comic book companies start putting out essentially bad quality shit, that makes people not pull books and not come in on Wednesday. So the person that really gets hurt throughout all of this is the comic book shop owners. They're the ones that really get hurt, and they have to, like, sell different stuff like Funko Pops and trading cards and all that stuff. But I'm used to card shops selling that stuff anyway. I come from a trading card game background, so I thought that shops sold that shit anyway. I thought they always sold Magic and Pokemon cards anyway.
That's what made me surprised when we moved here in 2020 or 2021. I can't remember. And I went to, there's two shops near me. There's a game store that sells comics, and it's a respectable comic wall. It's not just, oh, we just pull, we have our license and we just only do pull requests only, or we only do Marvel, DC. They have a respectable, maybe 3 racks on the wall, like one for Marvel, one for DC, one for Indies. But then there's also the LCS that I frequent in North Houston, and that is a comic shop. Like, that is a comic shop that they have, it is all comics. The only trading cards they sell are the ones that they have to for allocation to get the comic trading cards. So like Topps, if you want Topps Marvel, you also have to sell Topps Disney. And if you want to sell Topps Disney, you got to take this case of Topps basketball cards or whatever. And it's like, this is the dumbest thing ever, trading card allocation. Don't get me started. But they are comics first. Like, if I want to trade, I'm going to go there. I went there last week and I said, I want the Hedge Knight because we're really enjoying Night of Seven Kingdoms. Do you have the Hedge Knight? She like looked in her inventory. She's like, all right. She goes upstairs to the warehouse and she's like digging and she gets the full run. She comes back and like that's, you can't get that anywhere else. Like, I was expecting, I mean, they've got rows of trades. They've got shelf walls of trades. Of course, then they have the new comic shelf. And then she's got all the indies. She gets, she pulls, cause she's been in business, the LCS owner, since the 90s. And so she's got like a wall of Image, Dark Horse, Titan. After the runs are over, she packages them together and you can get the full run together. Just like it's a full on like local comic shop that people think don't exist anymore, but this one does. And unfortunately, because other shops close, she does more business because everyone has to go to her. And then we've got shops like Bedrock City, which is pretty popular in Houston. We've got shops like them that started as a main comic shop, but now they do a lot of statues. They do a lot of trading cards. And I even went one time because I just happened to be in the area and I collect art germ covers. And there's a few that I'm still looking for. So I was like, hey, can you help me find, thinking that they're going to be just as good as my LCS. I was like, hey, can you help me find the art germs? Can you tell me where they are? She's like, oh, well, all of our past pulls are just, they're in the long boxes. You just got to go find them. Like, they don't even have like an artist alley. Like my shop for like high profile, Scotty Young, Art Germ, Derek Chu, Mark Brooks, like they have short boxes of just those artists. But Bedrock City, one of the most popular comic shops in Houston, doesn't. Like, it's just, you just got to go, you got to know the number and the run, and you got to go find it in the long box. And in fact, she even said, if you can't find it, we know a great shop, Space City Comics Collection. Go talk to them. Like, oh, well, that's my main LCS. I'm just here in the area to see if you have the stuff that they don't. But yeah, the comic shop that I frequent, I am very thankful for. Because even like when I see like they're reprinting New 52 Justice League by Jeff Johns, and so I just saw that, and they're on book 3 now. So I pre-ordered book 3, and when I showed up, I was like, hey, by the way, I need book 1 and 2. And when I showed up, she had literally already, the girl who does the pulls, like, had already gotten in the back stock, pulled books 1 and 2 for me, so I could get ahead on those before book 3 comes out. And I'm like, I love that. And again, this is me being probably too nitpicky or whatever, but I wouldn't say support your local comic shop. I would say choose your local comic shop. Your money's going to go somewhere. Choose your local comic shop. And if for example, my LCS doesn't have something, if they don't have volume 2 of the Hedge Knight or whatever it's called, Mystery Sword or something like that, then I'm going to choose to use my comic shop online, because they're another Texas business that has a larger category, larger stock, because they are an online company. So anything that my shop doesn't have, I'll go to them next, give them my money. And again, I say I'm choosing to give them money. And then if they don't have it, then it goes on the Amazon wish list, and one of my family can get it from Amazon for Christmas and birthday.
It's good to have options. I don't have that in my city. I got to drive out for all that stuff, or I just order it online.
I've been fortunate to, and maybe it's just a Texas thing. I've lived in 3 Texas, for 3 cities of Texas in majority of my life, and they've all had comic shops, great comic shops, and real and comic and game shops. Shout out America's Heroes in Colleen. They were awesome. They were like my first comic shop, and it was a cool place. Um, so yeah, I've been fortunate to always be near a comic shop. If I didn't, all my
Mhm.
stuff would be from either my comic shop online, or I would use. John talks about it. It's some subscription service. You pre-order 3 months in advance. You get a pull box discount, and it just shows up on your doorstep. That's probably what I would do,
Yeah, there's some
because
people
I
that
like
that
floppies. I'm not a huge omnibus reader. In fact, if I had to choose between an omnibus or the 6 volumes of the trade, I will pay the extra $5 and get the 6 trades, because I just like that form factor rather than holding this huge omnibus.
they always said bigger is better.
Listen, in Texas, it is okay, but when you got to hold it,
Because I told people that too. If you are a fan of like a TV show format where you're binging like back in the day when TV shows went like 20, 30 episodes for a season, you're going like 20, 30 minutes long in an episode, you getting the trades is fine for your format because you can binge it at your own pace, and or do it all at once. Like people understand you don't have to do single issues though. They're gonna print trades for these characters. It's just the thing that you just said makes a lot more sense. Is like if you want this to be more of a long-term thing, you're gonna have to kind of support it. Let's say, i.e., like the episodes when they drop for a TV show, you're gonna have to support it initially up front, because that is gonna be what indicates to them this is there's something here. There's people buying this title. I want to keep it going too, because I know there's people that always go, I'm gonna just default to trade. And it's like, well, if you end up liking that series probably got canceled because no one initially supported it when it was coming out as an ongoing series.
yeah, they got to figure that out. I really do think the future. This is me personally. This is not a desire, because I love floppies. In fact, I even told I did a feedback. I think I've done it twice now, because Rippaverse will send feedback forms after you buy a book. And it's like, is there anything that you'd prefer different about this? I'm like, yes, please give me floppies. Like this 90-page Alpha Core book, I would much rather read it as 4 floppy formats with 4 different covers. It's a $30 book. I'll pay $60 for 4 floppies. That's fine, because I get the different covers. They're already doing 4 covers. Why not just give it to me as 4 floppies? I much prefer that format with a cup of coffee than even a trade. Even at 60 pages, I don't like that thick bind for comics, especially because we got those beautiful splash pages. Floppy is premier format for those, and so I much prefer the floppies. But yeah, you're right. I mean, by the time they come out with trades, especially Marvel, one of them, I can't remember, Marvel or DC, the trade doesn't come out until like 3 months after the last issue of the trade is done. And I mean, I know DC, because Scott Snyder tweeted it, was like their default now is to announce a 6-run mini, and if the sales are good, they'll extend it to 12
That's true.
or
Yeah.
beyond that. Whereas Marvel's default is just announce everything's ongoing and then cancel it at 10, which is the worst thing. Now when Marvel says ongoing, that's like something saying like what was I was at a restaurant and someone was like, "Oh, you got to try their rolls. Their homemade rolls are really good." I'm like, they're not homemade. They're made in the restaurant kitchen. Like, don't tell me they're homemade. Like, it's just a marketing term. Like, I understand it's made from scratch, but you don't call it homemade. And so, like, when Marvel says new ongoing, I'm like, yeah, I don't believe you.
That's the thing.
I don't believe you at all.
It's because when I do pick up a book of theirs and I read it and review it on the channel, I know at some point, even if we did all of the issues, that shit would end at 10. And I really like the first issue from Joshua Williamson's Iron Man run, where the starting of it. It's really good. And it's like, fuck. Either that's going to end at 10 issues and they're going to relaunch it with him on it again in a new number 1, continuing the same shit, where if you just put it like issue 11, it would be much more easier to follow. Or it's going to get like 36 issues like Jed McKay's Avengers run. And it's like, fuck. So technically it could be an ongoing, or you're just fucking me over. And I want to believe the former than the latter. You're probably just fucking me over.
Here's something to think about. I'm noticing this pattern, and it's totally allegorical and it's based on feeling. I feel like when Marvel relaunches a new number 1 with the same creative team, what they're actually doing is they're relaunching it with the same creative team with a different editorial directorate or mandate within it. And I noticed this the hardest with Ryan North's Fantastic Four. I really liked Ryan North's Fantastic Four. I started trades on it, and then I got the single. So I have, like, from issue 18 up in singles, and then I have the
Yeah.
first 4 volumes trade. Um, and when they rebooted with the new number 1, everyone was thinking, oh, well, it's because Fantastic Four is coming out, so they want a new entry point. Same creative team, well, same writer, I think, different artist with Humberto Ramos. But the way Ryan North wrote after the reboot is totally different than before. Before, it was much more of like a Silver Age Fantastic Four, very either they were all one shots or very short arcs, like 2 or 3 issue arcs. It was very science based. Science wasn't always great, but I understood what they were trying to do. Like, for example, in one of the issues, Reed Richard gets launched at the speed of light, and what people don't know is, like, at the speed of light, time stops. Like, the second that you leave the sun, even though it takes you 15 minutes to get to Earth, zero time has passed for you. So when Reed Richards gets launched at the speed of light, he immediately ends up at the end of time because he's just kept traveling in one direction. He didn't run into a planet, didn't run into a star. He's just in the vacuum of space, just at the speed of light. So he ends up at the end of time with the one above all. Because that's what's at the end of time. Like, I really liked that. I thought that was super cool. Like, Reed Richards, like, don't you know what you've done? Like, you've launched this. If we don't intercept with anything, like, first of all, we're going to collide into it at the speed of light, and second of all, if we don't, this is it. This is our life. We're going to live the entirety of the universe at the blink of an eye. And I was like, that's cool. I like that. And there are other times where, like, something as stupid as, like, he stretches his eyeballs to magnify them. Like, that's kind of dumb. Okay, but it's comics, right? I'll take it. I think that's fine. That's how all the original 30, I think it was 30 issue run of Ryan North's Fantastic Four. After that, then Sue has to declare herself the leader of the team. Reed Richards doesn't do anything science. All he does is stretch. And Ben Grimm becomes a little bit less of the thing and more of, I don't know how to describe it. I really like the way he wrote the thing before the reboot. After the reboot, he's kind of a background character. Doesn't really have a lot of emotion or a lot of just a lot to do with the plot. And so after 4 or 5 issues of the reboot Fantastic Four, I was like, it's the same writer, but he ain't writing the same thing. And I got off of it because I just did not care for it. And Humberto Ramos's art, I think he's a good artist. I don't think it was working for me on Fantastic Four. Everyone looked like they had in Botox. It just didn't work for me with Fantastic Four. Watching Sue and Alicia talk, and their lips are like this big when they're talking. I'm just like, I can't do it. Yeah, something was weird there. And then someone said the same thing with McKay's, his third Khonshu reboot, Moon Knight Khonshu reboot or whatever. They're like, yeah, the first ones were pretty good because they were building his team with the 8-ball dude, and the White Tiger was a part of his team, I think, for a run. But then, like, they rebooted it, and it's like, well, it's not as cosmic anymore, and now it's just a bunch of bickering. Like, something's different about the way McKay's writing Moon Knight. And I said, I'll tell you what's different. Editorial told him to start writing what they want and not let him write what he wants. And I'm just tired of that. And the same thing too, they did with Hickman and Imperial. They're like, hey, Hickman, you can do these main 4 issues, but these one shots, we're going to give to someone else in the middle. And then after you're done with these 4 issues, we're going to give it to someone else to start writing the rest of them. And just like, why? Why? I don't understand that. And so editorial, I said this in my review that just dropped today with Ultimate Spider-Man. Editorial is no longer editorializing. They're trying to do all the storytelling. And that's not their job. And that's not what they're good at. And they are showing how terrible they are at that. And that's the biggest problem with Marvel right now. It's not the reboots, it's not the numbering, it's not the speculations, it's not the quantity over quality. It's that editorial is overstepping their job and trying to tell the stories when that is not their job. And they are handcuffing their writers to their bad ideas, and it's ruining the company.
The thing you just said there with the editorial staff overstepping their boundaries and they want to implement their ideas, I want you guys to understand, who does that remind you of? It's the guy that currently runs the MCU. What is he known for as a very bad quality about him? We'll use a very recent MCU movie, The Marvels. Nia DaCosta had basically said in a quote, I'm paraphrasing this a little bit, I can remember almost word for word. She said, that was not the movie I turned in to the studio. That was almost a direct quote. And then she had, even when they had the interview, they have like the chairs lined up a certain way, and all the people are there and they're talking, and she's saying pretty much like, "Oh, that's Kevin Feige's movie." She's just like saying that. She's not saying that in jest, guys. She's being serious. Like, and then she had another interview where she talked about the same thing. Bo DeMayo, who was the showrunner for X-Men '97, said the same things. And this has been a long thing running with Kevin Feige, that he oversteps certain boundaries and implements the ideas he wants to implement while not listening to the director or creators involved with the movie. Guys, what does that sound like? They're all, for some reason, this is Marvel's thing. They're all doing it with each other. Not sexually, guys. We can them that thing because they're all fucking weirdos.
You went there.
But, like,
yeah, and Marvel's not the only one. I think DC does it. I think DC does it too. But Marvel does it way worse. Because there are some great indie writers that when they write for Marvel and DC, they're terrible. And I think it's because editorial shackles them or tells them or treats their scripts in a way that should not be treated. End of Life is a really good example that just came out last week by Kyle Starks. I'm a huge Kyle Starks guy. I think they gave him Peacemaker Tries Hard because they wanted a Peacemaker book, and they said, just let him do what he wants. And he crushed it, knocked it out of the park. Everyone loves it. They gave him Lobo Cancellation Special because it was like, it's just a one shot. We just need it for IP retention or whatever. And he crushed it. It was hilarious. It was awesome. So now they bring him in. He's also crushing it on the indies. He's got Devil on My Shoulder, which is another rape survivor fan, but it's like John Wick. It's like, what if this woman survived this brutal abuse in a barn at the hands of these 4 men, and then she lived it, and now she's getting her revenge. It is an insanely awesome story. He did a murder podcast. No, that's I'm getting my wires crossed. He did a serial killer story.
There was a book called Murder Podcast, though, which is crazy.
Two serial killers that were like trying to race to break the record or whatever, and you're just like watching this train wreck happen. Like, yeah, it's awful, but it was really good. It was really entertaining. So they get him to come to write End of Life, and you read this, and it doesn't read like anything else Kyle Starks has written. He's written a lot of great indie stuff, but something about it seems off. And after reading it and after listening to other people talk about it, I think what happened was he turned in the script, which is really good. I think it's a lot like Criminal, which is not good characters doing not good things, but it's entertaining. And I think DC said, we really want you to punch it up, make it more raunchy, make it more inappropriate. And they took that already inappropriate Kyle Starks humor and tried to amp it up to 11, and they went too far. It's like when Marvel tries to write Deadpool now, they go too far with the whips and the talk feedback, whatever it is. And it just reads a little bit too childish now. And I'm reading this and I'm like, I can't put my finger on it, but I think that's what it was. And this keeps happening. Chip Zdarsky was a fantastic indie writer. I think he did really good with Daredevil, but then once he got to the middle of the run, I think editorial kind of stepped in and said, hey, we want you to start doing these other things. And his run tanked. I think he did really well with Avengers Twilight because it's non-canon. It's a side story. So he got to do what he wants. But when he came into Batman, and now when he's coming into the Armageddon stuff, I think editorial is mandating and directing him, and it's not going to be that good. It's not going to be as good. And so I think there are a lot of folks that do really good indie stuff. But when they come to the big two, they are shackled and they cannot be themselves, and their writing stinks. And I think there's a lot of folks that people say so-and-so is not a good writer. I think they're a good writer. They're just not good with Marvel and DC. And that's a Marvel and DC thing, not a them thing.
Yeah. I also think it also applies to someone like Jason Aaron, where you hear just a bunch of random things about him, whether good or bad. And then he had a series called Bug Wars that came out like last year. We read really good things about that. And I was like, but I heard this guy was garbage. And you read it, you're like, this is pretty fun. This is pretty interesting.
His teenage, I don't read Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles either, but I hear that's really good too. There's a lot of great writers. Stephanie Phillips, I don't like anything she's ever done. Okay. Because all I know her for is her Marvel stuff. And I did not like any of it. But I read one of her indie stuff and I was like, this is pretty good. It was called Red and Black. It was off the Coral Snake. It was about 2 criminals, that, become friends. The real friends are the criminals we met along the way. It was actually pretty good. I kind of enjoyed it. I checked out another indie that she did under Distillery called Life, I think. That one was a little less good, but it was certainly a lot better. than anything she's ever done with Marvel. And I think it's because these writers, they get shackled and it ruins their reputation, unfortunately. And that's another thing that Marvel, I think, does on purpose, editorial wise, is they are so butthurt after Image. Half their people, not half their, but all their good talent left, and the audience went with them to Image.
Mhm.
I think they're butthurt with that. And so that now they don't want superstars. And the superstars that they do have, like Hickman, they make sure that the characters matter more than the writers. And that's why no matter what Marvel announces, people don't care because Marvel doesn't want you to care. And that's why it was such a big deal that Joshua Williamson got to do Iron Man. Because after, I don't even remember his name, did the last one.
Oh, Spencer Ackerman, and then it was before
Yeah.
that was Jerry Duggan, and before that was Dan Slott. So
Yeah, and Slott can have a name. I really liked his Spider Boy, but and I'm reading Superman Unlimited. I think he's doing a good job with Superman
that is a
Unlimited.
good book. I like the book a lot.
But
Yeah.
you look at the All Star names that DC has, and compared to the All Star names that Marvel has, Marvel's like 1 to 4.
Yeah, because
on that,
Marvel
especially
currently,
with the artists.
because Marvel currently is going to be taking Philip Kennedy Johnson and Chip Zdarsky. So I think this is the reason why a lot of them suck off the bigger companies like this. Is because if you guys look at the fine print of Philip Kennedy Johnson's contract, he's going to be exclusive to them, like with Jeremy Adams and Tom Taylor. So from just how I'm thinking it, and you're a business guy, so you can educate me if I'm talking out of turn. If you're exclusive, wouldn't that imply you get different benefits from a company? Like you get a salary, health benefits, stuff like that? Because the other people that don't have that exclusive contract, they can pay you from like a contractor wage. Like, hey, you did this work. Well, this is your money. That's it. But it could be depending on if you get hired again, we pay that. So it's better to be exclusive with the company than doing what the other guys do, which is basically, hey, I hire you to write X book, and then we may hire you again.
Yeah, I think it depends. To me, it would depend on what's included, right? The exclusive guys, I think it's less of like we're hiring you on like a salaried employee. It's more of sign this non-compete so you can't write with anyone else for 3 years.
Yeah.
With that, you're going to get a pay raise, right? Because they're not just paying you to write for them; they're paying you not to write for someone else. It's like when a company buys out their competition but doesn't do anything; they're just buying out the competition to make sure that they don't exist anymore. It's unfortunate that happens sometimes. So I imagine PKJ has got a lot better of a deal. I think there's other guys that don't want an exclusive and they just want to write what they want, no matter who it is. Mark Miller's a great example. He's like, if they would hire me, I'd talk. Jimmy Palmiotti's another one. He's like, I would love to write for DC. They just haven't called me, so he's just writing for Marvel now. But he'll do his indies. He'll do his creator-owned stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He'll do Marvel if obviously if the price is right. And he said he'll do DC, but DC hasn't called. So I think some guys, they want that freedom to not be shackled, because I'm sure also with the exclusivity, they have to guarantee so many books. So I think that's another part that Marvel wants on that. But yeah, I'm sure they're getting. And there has to be a reason to sign exclusive versus staying free.
There has to be, because Jeremy Adams and Tom Taylor, they're exclusive to DC. And what's interesting is the people that are exclusive, they never complain about not having enough money. So they have to all be competing to be exclusive to either one, because the people that aren't exclusive are getting probably paid. What was it revealed? Like artists get like what, 37K, writers probably get the same. 37K in New York goes nowhere. Same in California. If you were living in LA and you made 37K, you are not just poverty. That'd be like mega poverty.
Yeah, you're probably making as much as the guy on the street, but
you work at Starbucks, you make more money. It's actually crazy. Being a barista.
I get that, and there's, I mean, look, I worked a job. I made $32,000. Now, granted, it was in South Texas. You could live off of bean tacos down there. And that's fine. Yeah, cost of living is way lower. But I get that. And I think, unfortunately, these guys Marvel doesn't want to pay their artists. They don't want to pay someone good so that someone good can build an audience with Marvel and then take it somewhere else. Again, like they did, some folks did, McFarlane, Jim Lee, probably others I can't think of right now, did with Image. So especially with the artists right now, I think they do shell out some money for the writers, because we've named a few here, but the artists, I mean, I can't tell you how many times solicits come out and people are like, who's drawing this? I've never heard of this person, because they don't want to pay they want to pay $100 per page. And if you sit there and watch someone like panel out a page just to pencil it, I mean, you can do a page, maybe two, about a page and a half in a day. Like that's a lot of work. And
Yeah.
to do that for a day for $100, like
Dude, people will do
that's
this
not
is how
worth it.
I this is what average people don't get. If money will make you do things you never even thought you were going to be able to do. And people, what's crazy is they love doing, I do believe in my heart, they do love doing it. Even though I might not agree with them on things politically
Yeah,
or things like that,
yeah,
I
no,
do
for sure.
genuinely believe they actually love doing it. And I do genuinely believe that that makes them go, someone else is getting more attention than me. I got to start whisper networking and talking shit about them to ruin them because
Mm.
that's their whole life. Without that, what are they? Like, let's be honest, you guys. Without comic books, let's say without Spider-Man and Batman and any other character these guys have always did, what do you have? Like, like there's this, like, I love that Image is able to exist. I love that Dark Horse and all these other guys are able to exist, like with Boom Studios and stuff like that. But there is this odd thing that happens when it comes to the effect of Marvel and DC, where these guys are just willing to sacrifice every bit of moral principle and everything to write on Spider-Man or Batman or Superman, because that gives you a big Twitter boost. That potentially gives you more like street cred, as the kids say these days,
Yeah.
and that means that they're going to forsake any line of thinking because this is their whole life. And that's crazy because that's $37,000 a year. So, guys, those paychecks are like, after taxes, like what, $1,100? Then you factor in like rent, utilities.
You paying 37,000. I hope you're not paying much taxes on that, because that's ridiculous. But
Good Lord.
yeah, and I think some of it too is there's still some of that remnant of, oh well, it's a career boost. I mean, there's people in their ear, and not even maliciously. The company might be malicious, like, oh, we're gonna get you this job, it's gonna get
Oh,
more, you're
yeah.
gonna get
Yeah, the
pay raise.
lingo.
But
Yeah.
I think there are some granddads out there that
Mhm.
say, hey son, you got this job opportunity. He's like, yeah, I know it pays peanuts, but you know what? I had to sweep the floor at the stadium before I could become general manager, and it's they're getting old advice. It says like, hey, go ahead and do that, work for that little, because then they'll give you opportunities down the line. Not realizing that ain't how the world works anymore. Unfortunately, I wish it was, but yeah, it's just it's unfortunate that it happens that way. And then too, people say, well, hold out, right? Hold out. Don't work for that little. But there are people, you notice there's a lot more South American illustrators and artists.
I've seen
Something
that.
something in the
Yeah.
water down there, because man, they're putting out some great artists that
It was,
will work
yeah.
for that
And
page rate and will
yeah.
work with that speed.
And I
And
hate
so
when they get disrespected. Like, guys, just because an artist is not American doesn't mean their art is any less quality. Like, where
no,
does that
no,
even come from? I don't even know where that even comes from. Like, what in your mind would go, well, they're not from America, so that must mean that their art is bad. All right, I
no, it
get
doesn't. I
what?
mean, it
What?
means, number one, that the economics work out that way, and there's just not an American that can do it. Or
Mhm.
B, in the case of Marvel, it's, well, we don't want to pay more than that, and
Mhm.
so which again, I don't understand. That's part of the business that I don't understand, because you've got indies putting out $4 books that are way better than the $5 books that Marvel's putting out. But Marvel's paying less per page. I don't understand how that math works, unless there's just that much company bloat and
They talked
overhead.
about lowering page rates. Remember, like it was like last year they actually talked
Yeah,
about lowering page rates, and I was like, lowering. Good Lord, because
yeah.
Dustin
I
Nguyen,
cannot.
Dustin, yeah.
I still can't believe Ghost Machine books are $4. I would pay. I would. I pay a Hickman tax. I'll pay $7 for a Hickman Marvel
Dude,
book.
Spawn books are like what,
Dude,
two
I
ninety
would pay
nine?
$7 for a
Crazy.
Ghost Machine book. I'm sorry, y'all. If they raise their prices, they didn't watch this episode, right? Maybe they did. I don't know, but
No, dude.
dude, those Ghost Machine books are ridiculous for $4. And then I buy this
Yeah,
stupid Marvel book for $5. I'm like, this looks ugly. Like, what's the
I will
breakdown
give
here?
Assad Ribic and Jonathan Hickman that Aliens versus Avengers crossover that they did. That was actually issue one. I had my problems with, but I issues 2 and 3, 4 very good. No, he knocked it out of the park on that
Everything
one.
except for old lady Carol Danvers.
Right?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
In that
Art
book.
was like, I would
They
describe it
did
as
her dirty on
the
that
art
one.
was like majestic. This book,
Yeah.
most beautiful looking book you probably would ever read in a modern times comic book. Guys, when I tell people that book cost me $7.99, they go, "What? A
Mhm.
comic book costs?" Yeah, the Alien vs Avengers book with John Hickman and Assad
Yep.
Ribic cost $7.99 for a single. Insane.
Yep.
$7.99 for that. What am I paying $7.99 for that for, Marvel? Oh, because it's got good looking art. I agreed. He deserves every penny. $7.99 for that? It's fucking crazy.
And you got Skin Breakers too, right? I mean, have you
Yeah,
seen Skin Breakers out of
that's with
Image?
Kirkman. That's Kirkman's book.
That is the most beautiful book I've read maybe ever, but at least in modern memory. And I'm getting the Treasury edition. I'm paying $15 every month for that big old beautiful book. I mean, that is awesome. And Marvel just can't do anything like that because again, I don't know what the deal is, but they don't want to pay artists what they're worth. And the ones that they do get, I think they can do a pretty good job. Like for example, Wolverine, Weapons of Armageddon. I didn't care for it at all, but the art was good. A lot of the art was fine. They got Kaketo, who when he is on Ultimate Spider-Man was absolutely crushing it. Looks beautiful, looks awesome. The action scenes are there. But more again with their quantity strategy, they just got a bunch of no names that just I don't care. Like I'll check out a Steve McNiven book if it's a character that I don't care about or a genre I don't care about because I love his art. I will check that one out. It won't be an automatic pull, but I'll tell my shop get issue 1 for me. Don't add it to my pull box yet, but get issue 1 because I want to see what he's doing.
I wanted to ask you this
Yeah.
before we cover a few other things. You did talk about this book in a tweet. I remember you said it was actually good. So I know I added it to my cart on mycomicshop.com. It was the new Fantastic Four crossover. It was the one with Planet of the Apes. Did you actually like issue 1?
So I liked it when I read it. I ended up telling my shop not to put it. I told him to put it on my pull list, and then I texted them
No,
like a few days later.
It aged badly after you thought about it.
And it's not so much because I thought about it and had problems with it. It's just that I'm not that much of a Planet of the Apes guy. Oh, okay. So I was thinking, okay, so I love the art. I love the coloring. To me, pencils are great. Coloring is great. You marry the two, it's just amazing. Batman and Robin Year One with Chris Samney, which was also another Mark Waid book. One of my top books of 2025.
Yeah,
it was just awesome. It's just perfect combination of pencils and colors. So this one had great art, great colors. But the more I thought back about it, even after I did my review and stopped talking about it, but I was still thinking about it, I was like, I don't know if I'm just not looking forward to issue 2 because I don't know these Planet of the Apes characters. Like when I hear Dr. Zaius, I still think of The Simpsons, Dr. Zaius, not the movie, right? Dr. Zaius. And so I'm like, maybe I don't want to spend $5 on that. So I told him not to do it. But if anyone wants to check out a good Marvel book, I think it has some promise because in issue 2, it's set up at the end of issue 1. Can I spoil it? Is that okay? Fantastic Four lose their powers, but the monkeys gain powers. So there's going to be an ape Fantastic Four going into issue 2. And of course, they're apes, right? So it's like, what are these caveman ape, no technology apes going to do with these new fantastical powers?
So you're telling me an ape can go invisible? So just like my dad? That's what you're saying to me? Is that what you're saying to me?
Said it.
Oh my God. They're being black men again. They're going invisible.
You wanted representation. Lord,
another book that I'll ask you for, because you're not pulling anything X-Men. So what about that? So I read it and reviewed issue 1. So did you ever end up reading at all Spider-Man and Wolverine? That team up.
Spider-Man and Wolverine is awesome. It's one of, like I said, it's one of the 4 Marvel books that I'm pulling. I'm looking forward to.
How can that not sell past 10 issues, man? There's no way they're relaunching that. There's no way it didn't sell well. There's no way.
I feel like Marvel editorial is saying, "Oh, that Carrie Andrews is getting too popular. Cancel his book. Covers only now from now on." Because now I'm like, I'll still buy Marvel variant covers. I don't do DC because it's basically an art print stapled on the A cover, and they charge you an extra $1 for that. I don't like that. I don't support that. Don't support DC doing it. I choose not to give my money to DC for that, but I'll still buy a Marvel variant because it's the same price. But yeah, that Carrie Andrews art is amazing. It is awesome, gorgeous, beautiful, a lot of fun, crazy action. I really, really like that one. That's
has that nice like 90s cartoony style feel to it when I read it too.
Yeah. Awesome. And dude, the Snicks villain that he came up with, that's a combination of Wolverine, Spider-Man, and with a little bit of Venom. That is such a cool villain. I really, really love that there. But yeah, I think again, it's like everyone loves it because it's Carrie Andrews. That book would not do as well if it wasn't Andrews on the art. And I think the fill-in artist, they've had 2 fill-in artist books. I think he does a pretty good Andrews fill-in job. But it's still not Andrews. I think Marvel knows that, they see that, and they're like, all right, it's doing too good, let's pull it. And it's like, why? This is like the one of the best things you're putting out. Makes me worried for Benjamin Percy's Punisher. They're going to see it do too good, and they're going to say, no, we're not going to allow this. Because I mean, literally, if you read Punisher Red Band, again, number 2 of 4 of my Marvel pulls, literally in like issue 2 or 3, they did a Ledger's page, and it was all people like me, just old geezers that are like, oh, thank goodness Punisher's back. I went to my LCS for the first time in 20 years to get this book because I heard it was so good. And it's like all this, I think the kids call it glazing of having Frank Castle back, shooting bad guys, B&BA as all get out. And now they're not extending it, but they're giving them a new ongoing. And it's like, I think they're going to see that and say, well, this doesn't align with our new modern Marvel. And so they're going to cancel it after 10 issues, no matter how good it's doing, because editorial is running the show. And they're a kid with a Roblox gift card. They don't understand how to actually spend their money wisely. It was just given to them as a gift from Disney corporate, and they don't have any respect for it.
I think they're just having a power trip. Like they feel like being in this kind of industry at that kind of level gives them some sort of power over people. And that can, like, it's like that person who's never had anything going from that to that is such a jarring experience. And as we mentioned earlier, there's nothing else they have beside this. Like Heather Ontos, like, you understand this IDW pivot they're doing where they finally now want to create their own stuff. That doesn't work. What else do they have? All IDW only have is Godzilla, TMNT, and Sonic. That's it.
Sonic sells out at our LC. I would not be surprised if IDW is 50% income from Sonic, because that Sonic book, that's hard to get at our LCS. If you don't pull it, it ain't going to be on the shelf.
Savage Dad, who comes on the show that he his shop the same way. He said anytime Sonic's there, it is gone. Sonic is Sonic TMNT. Yeah. All they have is other people's shit. It was so funny when I was doing a video and they said they want to make a Christian book. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that was that was
the modern comic industry.
If it's good, if it tells the good, I'll check it out. That's fine.
I'm putting out the modern comic book industry. Their lead lady had a Hail Satan shirt, wanting to do a comic book based off like All right, I get.
I don't know. Look, I will always root for someone to do good, right?
Me too.
Like, respect to John's long box. Like, he's like, I'm gonna meet Heather Ontos. I don't want to talk about her unless I actually read her books. And I think it was John. And they actually got like 10 random issues that she edited or wrote and tried to read them. So respect for that. So I mean, it was okay. Like, I got I wanted to read Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow before the movie, but I didn't want to spend $20 on a trade or $25. They finally came out with not finally, but they came out with a compact comic, $10. So I read that. And it wasn't as bad as I think a lot of people make it out to be, but it certainly wasn't a Supergirl book, at least that the Supergirl that I know. And so it was I like, being able to put, invest your time into actually reading a comic before you comment on it, unlike apparently half of Twitter who doesn't even know that Chuck Dixon wrote Batman.
They do this thing where they post out of context panels. Like a big one was there was two big ones. There was a big one where it was like when Sam Wilson is calling, or sorry, when Steve Rogers is older, because fucking hell, it's a long story. Long story short, the way that Captain America gave up, he didn't really give up his powers in the comic books when Sam Wilson became Captain America. Essentially, a character kind of stole his
he lost his super soldier serum.
Yeah, a character kind of sucked it out of him, and he actually aged the way he should have aged if he didn't have that. And then Steve is like, no, you're Captain America. Guys, what do you understand? In comic books, there could be things it's like people don't like them. So if the fans could go, hey, I didn't like when he called him Captain America. That doesn't mean just because it happened in a comic book that it was a light thing. And then the opposite is true too. Like when it came to like the Superman movie, when people said Superman yells at people, well, guys, he was, good Lord, raised to be like us. Yeah, he's gonna yell at what the fuck. I don't even care if people didn't like James Gunn's Superman movie. I thought it had its problems, and I thought it was okay, and it was good, right? But this concept of like, you don't believe Superman could yell at someone? What are you talking about? Like what? Like half these people, because the logic is, well, why would I read it if it's bad? I didn't even say you had to buy it. Use the internet. Go and pirate it. See if you like it. Maybe buy it in real life. You could literally.
I don't support this statement.
I don't. But it's like, hey, if you got money problems,
Go to the
hey,
library.
that's
Use
true.
your communist government functions
You know they
to
don't
your
really believe that
advantage.
shit. It's all virtue signaling for these bastards. At least if you're gonna comment on stuff, you could literally I don't pirate comic books. I buy a lot, as you guys see. You could freely educate yourself on what you're talking about. It is not hard. So people literally they're doing that thing where they're just lying for free. They're just doing it for the love of the game. Bro, says how
Yeah, and
you're
I don't.
lying for
They're
free.
doing it to fit in, or get virtue. But like, I don't get that. Like, there was even there was a tweet today that I was like, I think they have a misunderstanding of what this writer meant when they said this. And I started typing it, and I was like, I don't know enough about this to defend my position. It was literally just I'm pretty sure he said this on an interview that contradicts your point. But I was like, I don't know what interview. I don't know when it was. I may not even have, like, I'm not even. And then meanwhile, this guy just freely is like, hey, Chuck Dixon doesn't know nothing about Batman. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the gall of these people. I mean, it might be a different word that starts with R, but I mean, these people just, I don't understand just shooting from the hip like that. Like, and again, maybe because they have nothing to lose. They don't have their face in the profile picture. It's a total anonymous account. They ain't paying $8 a month for that account or whatever. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
They could read the books for like this is the thing
But
is
why be
you
in
can
comics Twitter if you don't read comics? Like, that doesn't
and
make
you could
sense to
cheat
me.
too. You could cheat
It's
and
like
read
hanging
them
out
for
with the
free.
goth kids. You don't
Yeah,
own any
yeah.
black clothes, but you're gonna go tell goth kids how they need to dress and what's a.
So
I
and it's
don't
crazy.
understand
Like
that.
literally, the internet is the ultimate epitome of fake it till you make it. And I'm not saying pirate books, but you could literally do it right now. None of us would ever know, but at least you'd be knowledgeable on what you're talking about. Some of you guys are just lying for free, like just you're stupid on purpose because you're that stupid. Which is, I mean, I'm not surprised. You are fucking retarded. So thank you for proving that you're just stupid.
Yeah, I
How
don't.
do you not use the internet to your
Yeah,
fucking
you're
advantage?
just impressing other random strangers or other random bots. Like, it literally means nothing. Brownie points are worth more because you at least know how
Yeah,
many points you have for the teacher. Like,
yeah.
it
It's the
doesn't
same thing
mean
now when it
nothing.
comes to like I don't know, because like apparently a lot of weirdos got mad because DC didn't announce enough black led books. Yeah, guys, they don't sell because all you do is virtue signal. Yeah, when all you do is virtue signal, the businesses truly aren't that stupid. They know when you're not supporting, they don't put it out. I want a
Yeah.
Static Shock book. Yeah, the same book where at some point he got his powers in a Black Lives Matter rally. That's what actually canceled that book. I remember that. That's the last time he had an ongoing
Yeah.
story years ago. Good,
And that's another
that
thing
was
that
the
leadership needs to figure out is that these people don't buy comics. Like, and literally, you don't even have to buy the comic book when the trade is announced and the ISBN number is released. Remember, guys, my family, single income, $32,000 a year. Okay, like, we didn't have much money. Okay, family of three at the time. While my wife was going to PA school, we were also paying for graduate school. Okay, we had no money. All my comics reading was at the library. Okay, but what you can do is when they announce the solicits and they announce the trade, and you can get the ISBN number when it's in the solicit, email your library, say, I want this. And then you're the first one to get it when they order it. It comes in. Sometimes it takes an extra month or two because they want to do a special library edition. That's whatever. But then you can actually read the comic books. And right now, you can go to your library. I guarantee you they're going to have The Watchmen. They're going to have The Killing Joke. They're going
yeah.
to have, they may even have something like Justice League versus Avengers. They're going to have definitely lots of anime. I don't know if anime Twitter is as bad as American Comics Twitter, but like, you can go read all this stuff,
This
and
is for
I
free.
still love
Yeah.
it. I'll take my kids to the library for like
Mhm.
whatever story time they have, or sometimes we just have an extra hour, so I'll take my son because they have a little play area, and I don't want to be outside because it's hot, and we'll go check out the graphic novel. And it's like,
Mhm.
well, I hear good things about Preacher, but I don't want to buy the trade myself, and of course I don't pirate. But I'll check it out from the library and I'll read it. I'm like, dude, this is pretty good. And I'll either read it and I'm done with it and I'm happy with it, and I'll never look at it again, like I did with what's his name, Neil Gaiman's Eternals. Like, I wanted to read that before the movie came out, but I didn't want to pay for it, so I got it from the library. I read it, and I read it over Christmas break, and I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm happy. Never gonna read it again. Never buy it. And there's other books that I read, and I'm like, this is awesome, and I go to the comic shop and I buy it because I want to have a copy myself. Like, the library is free. Okay. We pay for this for you to use. Go use the library. And if you want to be super nerdy about it, again, when the trade is solicited, get the ISBN number, email your library, they will get a copy for you. And you will be the first to read it on almost release day, just like us, except you didn't pay anything for it, except for maybe 5 minutes of your time, which
Yeah,
hopefully is worth at least $35.
I I know you motherfuckers don't shower. That's probably it's weird because I most of these people are not just fat. You're just disgusting nerds. Like you smell. You don't brush your teeth. Your mom pays your cell phone bill. You spend all day scrolling up and down on TikTok or Twitter, on YouTube Shorts, whatever the fuck you do. You can't go outside for like an hour after being on your phone to go and read something for free, which is so weird. You could go read it for free, or you can be online and read it for free. But you choose. This is an active thing. You choose to be retarded. That's a choice. I
Choose to
congratulate
be
you on.
uneducated and
Yeah,
just be like, oh yeah, like yeah, no, this is the that would be like me, like just walking into soccer Twitter and just being like, Ronaldo, man, that guy missed the goal 4 years ago and got kicked out. He got red carded, and he did a backflip and broke his ankle on the way out. Can you? What a retard!
I
And people
hate
are literally like,
people.
what are you talking about? And I'm like, I know soccer. I know what I'm talking about.
Like, there's ways
I
you
don't
could.
understand that. The desire to
Yeah.
want to do that, to fit in with that crowd where you don't even read. I mean, it's one thing to be a fan of the character because you grew up on the cartoons or you like the movies. But again, you do that on movie Twitter. You do that on Spider-Man Twitter.
Mhm.
You don't do it on comics Twitter. I don't understand.
Yeah, that stuff
But
just
some
irks
people
me.
want the attention, I guess. It's worth
Yeah,
it.
that stuff just irks me only because, guys, there's ways of consuming this stuff for free if you can't pay, but you just choose not to do it. That's why I hate the way the average person functions now. And I get it, it's not real life to a certain extent. It is like I wouldn't say a small section. There, guys, this is which I know some. This is just a statistically proven fact. Guys do not approach women as much anymore. Guys don't really interact with women as much. So imagine that on a nerd level where they're already like, introverted. There's people that don't. This is the problem, though. We created a society where you have no reason to be stupid on whatever topic you may want to pursue, whether it's comic books, movies, anything. But you just choose to be that way because, it's tough. Yeah, it's tough going outside and going into a library and sitting down and reading and not being attached to your phone for checks notes an hour. Oh, the horror of not being on Twitter for an hour. You're hurting me. Good Lord.
Yeah, I think so. Go back to the library point. I think if everyone who said they want that book to exist, if they all just again called their library, because the library is going to get the expensive version of the book, right? The library doesn't get it for free, right? And oftentimes with some of these publishing companies, I know with books, when they do libraries, like they make the library system order 1,000 copies or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Marvel's going to get paid, and if everyone around there, if you can't afford it, calls their local library, and the libraries buy 1,000 trades, they're going to keep that book coming. They may not print as many floppies, but they'll keep it going for the trade. You just look at all these young DC graphic novels. I see the ads in the floppies all the time. I'm like, who is reading this crap? I'll tell you who. It's the libraries and Scholastic Book Fair, right? That's why there's no floppies, because they just want to sell to those two. That's their primary market. What they do with the books after that, they don't care. And so they keep coming out with this young Robin, young Batman, young what's the one? There's one that has like this weird crown coloring art, but I don't get it.
It's the Wayne Adventures book. I imagine they sell a lot of.
Wayne Adventures, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that webtoon book. Where, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You don't
like
see
that,
it in the LCSs, but you'll see it. And I tell you, they make those and they keep making those because it's the libraries and the Scholastic Book Fairs that are buying them. So, I mean, you don't even have to buy the books. You don't even have to buy the floppies. Just call your library. Like maybe that's going to be my platform. Right? Don't pirate. Don't get me started on high profile creators that take read comics on is it read comics online screenshots for their things. And I'm like, I know you own a copy of the book. I saw you have a copy on the book of the book in the video review that you did. Yeah. But you take a screenshot from take the screenshot from League of Comics Geek. Do a Google image search. Why are you using Read Comics Online? I think it's because they were already on there reading it. And I can get the argument because I don't think it should be illegal if you own a hard copy of something like a DVD. It should not be illegal for you to also have a digital copy. I understand the way the licensing laws are written. That's why it is illegal. However, I think ethically, you own a hard copy, you should be able to have a digital copy backup as well. So I have less of a problem if you own the copy and you're like, well, I don't want to go dig it out for this one thing I want to check.
Yeah, if you're using it for like a video,
so
like
let me go look online. And I don't want, like, even me, like when I have a book and I'm like, it would be so much easier just to go online and just find it there, or you know, I could spend $4 and buy the digital copy, and it's like, I don't want to buy the digital copy. I'll wait and not read the book until I go to the
Yeah,
SAS and
yeah,
get it.
yeah.
Like I can get, but I can get that, right. The problem is it's still an illegal platform that is posting these things without the consent of the publisher, and so I still have a problem with that. But I understand a little bit more. But the fact that you got these high profile creators that I do enjoy, and they're posting images from Read Comics Online, and like, you could have just done it. But why were you there? And it's kind of like, well, why was Pastor at the strip club in the first place? Right? Oh, Pastor saved me from going to the strip club. Okay, well, why was he there in the first place? So I mean, again, all that said, like there's ways to be around it. You just like with anything else, you have to be, you can't be lazy, right? Like you can legally not pay your taxes, but if you just don't pay your taxes, you're going to jail. But if you just don't be lazy about it, then you can not pay taxes or not pay as many.
So wouldn't that just make you a black man if you go into jail? You know, at that point you would just be a black. Everyone becomes a black man at some point. No, it's that thing you just said.
Listen, Wesley Snipes is an American hero.
He said, "What I've not seen Blade. I've not seen that trilogy, but I know the quote he said in the movie, which was like, some motherfuckers just want to skate uphill." Not gonna lie, banger, complete banger quote. It's that thing of like if you're doing a review and you've bought the physical copy and you don't want to pull the copy off a review, you just want to scroll. I understand you already bought the physical. Essentially, the way I always phrase it on here is like, if you put money into the game, like skin in the game, as people used to say back in the day, I think it's fine. If you're someone who goes to the cinema a lot and spends money on movie tickets, I wouldn't mind you elite pirating a movie, because like you're putting money at least into the system at some point. You know, it's these people that put in nothing that do it though. If you don't actually support anything, then you're terrible. Like I can understand, like, you know, there's some times you can't, but if you've let's say there's a month where bills come up and it's really tough on you financially, but you've spent money on comic books your whole life, you've been pull lists, omnibuses, trades, you know what, one or two books you pirating can be that big a deal. But it's a person that never spent money, never tried, never even attempted to. I can't fuck with that. It's like, dude, you weren't putting any money to the system. Like the people that were mad that the Green Arrow book was canceled, like, you didn't buy it though, you all pirated it. Yeah, that's the problem there. You did too much pirating, not enough physical support. You know,
and that speaks to a larger cultural thing where it's just the lack of personal responsibility. Like someone was saying, I can't remember who it was. You know, because Black Twitter's having a whole meltdown about comics right now, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah, the whole
and I can't remember who it was, but someone tweeted like, "You're literally begging a publisher to give you scraps, to give you morsels, to think about you."
Oh, Shine Comics, yeah, he did.
We have so many other creators that are doing things now. Not as many as there should be, not as many as you want. It's not coming from the place that you desire. Totally get that, but you are just like begging for scraps at this point. And it's not a good look. And it shows just how powerless you feel that you are versus going out there and finding what actually exists. And if you want to use the word, supporting what's already out there, choosing something that's already out there. But no, they want the glamour, the virtue, the what's the word I'm looking for? The not superiority, but they want the big two. They want to be recognized by the big two. And it's like, no, go like what you like, go find someone else. Like, I don't care if it's, you know, like these Kickstarter, like amazing respect for these Kickstarter comic creators, like Carissa Grant of Worthy Chaos consistently comes out with a new comic book, a new floppy every 3 months, sometimes shorter than that. And it's consistent. I don't know how many backers she has. It's gotta be less than 1,000, but she writes great supernatural stories, and she does it like clockwork. And it's gorgeous art, great writing, really fun. She's got different side projects now. But again, it's like people are gonna be like, oh, we need more female writers from the big two. And it's like, you got a fantastic one right there. But because it's not attached to the brand that's going to make you more popular with your friends online, it doesn't matter. And that's a more cultural thing.
It's like these people that always say, I'm not getting this X thing. But if you literally did any small sort of, like, not just networking, like just looking at this is what people should do. If you're not getting something, you should probably try and look in all avenues for it. I do this myself with literally everything, so I can speak to this. Like Carissa Grant, I know who that is. I can't put a picture of my name right now, but I know I've had her on the show. I think it was my previous one, where Like these people that you're asking for are out there. You just have to go search for them. And people are, but I don't see them. Yeah, they're indie. They don't have like big numbers on social media, so you're gonna have to go find them. But it's one of those things where you like I said earlier, they don't want to do that. It's all virtue signaling. And the other point we have to bring up here is these people aren't gonna, even if DC and Marvel give them all the black lead books they ask for, you're not buying it anyway. You're just saying it for Twitter brownie points. Also, thing is like,
and it's not going to be good enough. It's not gonna be good enough. Like literally, they're like, well, DC doesn't have the black ongoing. And it's like someone literally is like, absolute Green Lantern right now has what's her name, Jessica something or other. She's the main Green. I'm not reading it, but she's the main Green Lantern. Like that's the main thing. And they're like, oh well, that's not mainline. That's alternative universe. Like, okay, so it's not good enough. All right, so I'll tell you what happens. They're gonna announce a new, even though they do have Batman Static Shock right now. I hear it's good.
I told them that too. You have Batman Static Shock right now. So I don't. So what? So because the implication they're saying is there's none. Okay, so when you're putting an absolute on that, pun intended, absolute universe. When you're putting an absolute on that, you're saying no books. I just gave you 2. Go buy those right now.
Not good enough. Not good enough. It needs to be Superman, needs to be black. And then when DC does that, listen, when DC, like, even if it's what's his name? Not Jeremy Irons, that's an actor. John Steele? What's the
John Stewart.
No, not John Stewart. There's a Steele that's a Superman offshoot.
Icon.
Okay, anyways, if they made him an ongoing and said this is the new Superman now, like Superboy's John Kent's going to be Superman for some reason in a few months. But if they did an ongoing, they would say not good enough. It needs to be another one. He's just the token now. And then you make a second one, and what's Twitter going to say? Oh well, he's just the token of the token. He's just so you can say you don't have a token. Like you really don't care until half the line is black-led superheroes. And then it's still not good enough. There's going to be a reason it's not good enough. The goalposts will keep moving because again, it's that victim mentality. It's that we are powerless. And so it's never going to be good enough no matter how much it is. And so that's the thing that like even Eric July says, it's never going to be good enough. Even if Marvel gives you what you want, it's never going to be good enough. It's never enough diversity. It's never enough split down the middle. It's not about representation, it's about domination. And so it's always going to be that. And I don't envy the Marvel and DC thing because they want to do the right thing and they want to have representation and diversity and whatever the difference is between those two. I think diversity is a better goal than representation. And that's fine. But again, the people that want that need to buy that. And all the screaming in the world is not going to help that. And there may even be a business argument of, well, we got to put these books out there because it wins us brownie points online. And when it wins us brownie points online, it doesn't affect these other titles because people aren't screaming that we're bad guys. So people will buy the titles that do sell, Spider-Man, Iron Man, all that stuff. Maybe there's a business argument for that, but I don't think it's in the good faith that they think it is. And I don't understand that. And part of the whole race stuff, I never quite understood. I've always been that ignorant friend because I grew up in Houston. We call it the melting pot. It's a business economy here. So, I mean, when I was in school already in the 90s and the 2000s, the whites were the minority. And I just grew up around that. I didn't have a problem with that. All my friends were different colors. We didn't have to talk about diversity because we were literally living in it. So when I talk to people from other parts of the country and they're like, oh, well, no, he's like, my daddy talked like this and I talked like this until like that. I'm like, that does not compute to me. And that's something that I'm missing. And I wish I could understand better the desire for representation and diversity. I don't get that because when I look around, I mean, even right now, I'm the only white person in this little block of our houses on this street. I've got a Muslim neighbor, a black and white mixed family neighbor, Catholic Mexican neighbors that have like 16 kids. I've got an old man and his daughter there that are black. We've got a new black family that moved in across. Like we live in this world that is already, me personally live in this world. So I don't understand what the whole desire is to want to see more of that. But again, that's just my unique circumstance. So I don't see it. So that's why I don't get to talk about
that. I was
going
to add to your point too, which is it sounds like these people just want diversity for just the sake of diversity. And there's no actual reasoning behind it. Like, why can't it just be a genuine thing? Like the creators, the creatives of the companies go, I want to do this because I want to do it because I'm doing it this way. It sounds like the person that's receiving that information goes, you should just give us black characters. And then I'm always, why? Because I'll give you, these people apparently love anime. Apparently they do. Guys, a lot of you like Dragon Ball. I love Dragon Ball too. Or I'll use another one. I'll use the turtles. TMNT, brought TMNT earlier. Guys, we aren't tall, green, mutated turtles. So why do you like them? Oh, has nothing to do with skin color. I'm not saying skin color and characters don't matter, because that matters to a different degree. I'm not saying race swap people, but you don't have to look like someone to like them. Because, come on, none of you are going to be Superman. None of you are cool enough. That's how it works. Like, a lot of you guys like Bruce Wayne. Most of you guys are not rich, and you'll never be rich as Bruce Wayne. Second one, you don't have the mentality to be rich. You don't even know how to pirate online. So let's skip money, right? It's this thing is like, I like characters like fucking, he brought Farb earlier with, like, not the new Absolute Green Lantern book, but the previous one. It's like, why can't someone like a character unless they look like them? That's always been a weird thing to me.
And it's niched down way too far. So like old X-Men, like Claremont X-Men was great because the X-Men, they were the allegory for the outcast. And that could mean a wide variety of things. You could be outcasted because you were a nerd. You could be outcasted because you were a different skin color than everyone else in your community. Maybe you were outcasted because you were gay. Like, there were reasons to be outcasted, but you could all find a commonality in the mutant race that was not accepted, but still chose, in spite of all that, to do good in America. That's old X-Men. New X-Men is, you got to follow the one that you look like. And that's why we want more women. So Wolverine, Logan is gone, and we're going to really heavily push X-23. We're Miss Marvel. We want her to be an X-Men because we need a Muslim X-Men. So instead of making another one or making one, we're just going to take Miss Marvel and we're just going to make her a mutant. And now it's like all these different things that like have to be specifically. And so if you don't resonate with that one particular trauma or whatever that they have, it doesn't speak to you, which is why modern X-Men just doesn't jive with me, because there's nothing that I can even relate to. Whereas in the past it was, oh, I can relate to wanting to start a family, but having these powers hold you back. I can relate to not fitting in at school. I can relate to wanting to harm someone, but not doing so because that would look poorly upon my legacy. Like, I can totally understand all of those things in those classic stories, not so much the stories of today. And so, you have to demand good storytelling and good characters. Because like you said, if you demand just another black character, guess what you get? You get Spider Thor, what was by Odin's Fade. You get, what was that comic there?
Read the article describing why they did it. The article that described that book, I almost threw up laughing so hard. It was like, good Lord, you people actually think you're not the racist, which is the most
I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, like
it's like literally anti-racism is the new racism. I mean,
what if Miles Morales became Thor?
Miles Morales became Thor. I knew a spider something became Thor.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw a panel. Now again, I try not to judge things based off a panel that you see on Twitter. Same thing with screenshots. I hate it when people are like, "Oh, this person's so ugly. I can't believe they hired them for this movie." And it's like, you literally took the worst freeze frame. What's her name that plays Hawk Girl in Superman?
I forget her name, but when she's doing the scream.
Yeah, when she's doing the scream, she looks great throughout the whole entire movie. But that one weird freeze frame, she looks awful. That's the picture that everyone uses. It's like, I don't trust your argument anymore, because you're just arguing on bad faith by choosing that one bad frame from an obviously good actress that did I think the part was garbage, but she did a good job with at least what they gave her on that. Man, what is her name? It's going to escape me. She was in The Last of Us as well. Anyways, that's the problem, is that they want representation before they want good characters. And when you do that, you get Miles Morales Thor. Whereas if you focus on the character first, you get something like Spawn. I think a better analogy is Prodigy, Edison Kane, from Mark Miller, who's not a black guy. I get that. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, but man, he wrote such a good he wrote a better Mr. Terrific, honestly, than whoever's writing Mr. Terrific. It was really, really well done. And I think that's a great character right now. So, I mean, again, if you focus on the characters and guess what, you would enjoy this, MSK, like Edison Crane, the black character that Mark Miller wrote, he had daddy issues. His daddy disappeared, right? And so actually in volume 3, he has to find him. Guess what? He disappeared on Mars, and he's because he's also a genius, and he got sucked into Stargate or something on Mars or something like that. But anyways, it's a great character, and he has to overcome some of those things. I like classic Black Lightning. You know, the guy who overcame his ghetto upbringing. I'm probably butchering this a lot because it's been a long time since I read it. and he became a teacher, and he fights for his community. He's a ground level superhero. Now he's all cosmic, and I think they overdone him at the Black Lightning
And the
family.
creator became a Looney Tune at age of 50. Like, what the hell? All right, I
But
guess.
that was one of those books I read
Okay.
at the library just because I wanted to learn more about the character before the CW show came out. And like that was a legit respectable character because they gave him like good morals, good conflict, internal and external. And now he's the Justice League Watchtower welcoming committee. That I mean, come on. And that's just because we got to use Black Lightning, so let's just put him somewhere. Yeah, I mean, we gotta want more than just
Mhm.
surface level, pun intended,
Just
skin
because they're
deep
black.
desires
Yeah,
of characters.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's all surface level with these people. It's I just want these characters just because I want more black characters. And I want you guys to
And you know what you
understand,
get with that? Captain Durag.
yeah. And you know what also you get if you do that? Books getting canceled at 6, 10 issues. And
Yeah.
then what's crazy is, and keep in mind, I'm not even a pro company guy because that can have people thinking something. I will say this: you can't ask for something and then not support it, and then get surprised when it doesn't keep happening. It's just a
Yeah.
clear.
And again, it comes down to, well, not my money, your money. You should be buying this book. And it's like,
Yeah,
no,
it's like
no
you
thanks.
guys didn't support it though. You live at home with your mother with no job. Yeah, of course I would be the one supporting it.
You know what the
But
funny thing is? I think the person who lives at home with their mother can probably afford a comic book more than I can.
that's the crazy part. Don't even get started on that stuff,
You know?
man. Holy shit! But I know we're gonna wrap it up here in a little bit. When you have a second appearance, well, we'll probably review comic books at some point. So we'll be, I guess you could say, collabing at some point again. Probably fairly soon when I can think about which book we're gonna review. Because good lord, I'm old. I forget everything. But I'll ask you this. So first things first is, do you have anything planned coming up that you would like to let the audience know about?
Well, we're wrapping it up now, but we passed 100 subscribers on American Texan Reads on YouTube. So we're doing a giveaway. I got Geiger Volume 1, Mad Love, Paul Dini, Facsimile #1. I've got a few indies that I'm going to give away that I have extras of. If we get to 200 subscribers by the end of the month, what I think now, as of today, we have 75. So if we get 75 subscribers by the end of February, I'm going to add on a Junkyard Joe Deluxe hardcover as a second giveaway if we get to 200. This is my personal one. It is still shrink wrapped. I got a Comic-Con signed version, so I don't need this one now. But we'll give this away if we hit 200 by the end of February. So go check me out. I do weekly hauls on Wednesday. I spend way too much at the comic shop. I'm one of those folks that spends hundreds of dollars at the comic shop every Wednesday. I tell you what, I try to read all these books too that I get. But we also have our comic shop. They got a record collection that came in, so I bought a record. Sometimes they get board game collections, and they're buying comics. They just have to also get the board games that come with it or whatever. So I like to share the things that I also get in on Kickstarter. So those are my Wednesday videos, and then I like to do on the weekends. I'll do a big 2 review, just looking at the Marvel and DC books, and then I do a indie review where I look at all of the either the crowdfund books that I read, Rippaverse books that I read, or of course the Image, Dark Horse, the off the shelf indies that I call them. So I try to do 3 videos a week. So I'd love to have you guys check that out there. And that's my creative outlet. I run a creative agency, well, 2 now, and I don't do anything but stare at project management software all day and make sales calls. So yeah, so this is my creative outlet. I like to get my hands dirty. I think as much as you consume, you also need to be putting out in the world. And so it got to the point where I was like, I want to do something. And also just the entrepreneur in me. I can't just sit on my hands and just read these books and not talk about them.
Yeah.
So I want to share them with you. I'm just making the content that I was looking for originally too. So I'll open the books, talk about the books, the art, and I don't even like calling them reviews. I say, let's talk big too. Because I just want to talk about these books, and we have some good conversations in the chat as well. So yeah, I'd love for you guys to check me out there.
And I've told people this too. It's like whenever you watch movies and all this other stuff that we talk about here, you want to talk about these things. It feels good to vent your thoughts out. That's why I'm so happy I can do this a lot with people. So I can vent my thoughts about whether this comic book may be angry or happy or any of that stuff, because I got a lot of thoughts in my head. It feels good to just kind of espouse them to the world, but whether good or bad, depending on how they go. Actually, last thing, actually, man, is, do you have anything planned coming up? Oh, sorry. Oh my God, I'm old and black. It's all ruined for me. Jokes aside, do you have any shout outs you could give to anyone in particular, and anything else you want to say before you head out?
Man, I feel like I've already done a pretty good job of shouting out the people that I really like. John's Longbox on YouTube, Carissa Grant, We're the Chaos on Kickstarter. I mean, of course, Rippaverse. I mean, I'm enjoying most of their books there. Ironically, Isom is the book that I enjoy the least. That's a different conversation. I like all the other books.
Best book was
Most of the other
Horseman
books.
and Blood Ruth. my opinion.
Oh yeah, you know what? Blood Ruth I didn't really get in with. I kind of wish I'd gotten the black and white. I guess that's my second least favorite behind Isom. I love all the Chuck Dixon stuff. All of his stuff is.
No,
is
Horseman Welcome to
Grand
Force are
Slam.
pretty good. That was
I like
good.
the Horseman. I like Zaylin. Alpha Core is my favorite. I'm actually
Okay.
wearing an Isom shirt right here. I got
I
this
did see
shirt
that.
on
That's the same
clearance.
one.
I got this for $5 whenever they
Wait,
had
hold
them.
on.
Yeah.
A company having a sale? Crazy. It's a crazy
So
thing.
Eric July invented this thing called discounted product to clear warehousing inventory. It's the wildest thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it, how he stays in business with that, because every time I go to Bed Bath and Beyond, I'm paying full price for those candles, baby.
That's what I gotta do.
I don't shop
pay
at the
full
clearance
price for my
aisle
shit.
at my Target and buy. I did this the other day. I always walk by the clearance aisle, and it's almost midnight here, so now I can't stop talking. I saw this huge party bag. Huge party. You got the regular bag, you got the family bag, and then you got the party bag of cheddar popcorn for $1. And I'm like, dude, heck yes, me and the kids will tear this up. Get home, open it, start eating. I'm like, okay, maybe it's just about to expire. It doesn't taste as cheesy, right? And I'm just sitting there and look at the bag again, and it's dairy-free cheddar popcorn. And I'm like, first of all, I didn't even realize cheddar popcorn really actually had dairy, but apparently dairy is where the flavor comes from, because that stuff was not very good. But I paid $1 for it. So thank you, Eric July, for creating sales and discounted product to clear warehousing space. Otherwise, I would have paid full price for that popcorn. So yeah, good on Eric for inventing that.
The funniest one was when I forgot on their website. This is something that they should improve on. They should get another one of those pay in 4 processors like Klarma or Shop or some shit, because I know he doesn't use PayPal for obvious reasons. You know, when they got they have Sizzle and you have the pay in 4 options like you can. Someone was like, well, Rippaverse is having you do layaways. Oh my god, Rippaverse invented layaways.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
Hero Stash? Oh my gosh. Like I will pay for it now and you just hold on to it for me and ship it to me later. Layaways. I still do layaways at my comic shop, by the way. If it's something like, if it's like a collector thing and I don't want to pay $200 right now, I'll lay it away.
Yeah. And I was crazy. That one, I almost threw my computer at my wall. Yeah. I know all of you do layaways right now. It's called this thing your car. None of you walked into that dealership putting down $20K on that car. You was paying that shit off like all of us are. This fucking notion that you yourself walked in that dealership and put 20 racks down. No, you didn't. You paying that shit off, you fucking bastard.
Listen, I remember going with my grandma. I remember going with my grandma to Kmart and going on layaway. She'd get she'd go on the day after Black Friday when the crowds were less, whatever was left. She'd get all the family presents, take them over and be like, all right, it's $300. And she's like, here's $50 now, and hopefully I'll be back with the rest. And that was her Christmas shopping.
We did that for video games. On my local Game World. Like, fucking people are ridiculous, man. They're like,
yeah, again, it's that shooting from the hip. Like, I'm just gonna put things out there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, have some more respect for yourself, please.
Oh God.
Anyways, I appreciate you having me on. This was a good conversation, and hopefully I made some sense. It's getting late here in Texas.
Yeah. So last thing I'll say to you guys is make sure you guys check out other episodes of the MSK show, and thank you to American Texas for coming on for the first time, and thank you guys for checking out this episode of the MSK show. We will see you guys later.